even to be a lawyer, to like, okay, baby.
You need to dress like this. Oh no, you need to be dressed in beige, white, and black. Those are the colors that every.
Yeah. I hear you.
Welcome to NM Talks.
You know what? I try to start my show always with 3 things that you're grateful for.
Grateful for life, grateful for my relationship with Christ, and grateful for mercies. Oh my gosh, mercies.
Yes. You ready? Hey, what's up everybody? This is NM Talks and I am here with Tanya. I'm not going to keep the intro for too long because you know, I'm a player, so I'm like 10 minutes in the intro. I'm out here just going to keep it short and sweet. I'm very excited to have Tanya. I'm just really excited to have this conversation. I was telling her, you know, this isn't, I don't want to give too much guidelines on what to say and what not to say. It's really just to dig into the minds of the people that I'm having this conversation with, and you just happen to be there. I'm talking about people that are doing this. Why you actually piqued my interest, if I can kind of give you a reason why I picked you to have this conversation with, is because you do something so amazing. I think it's so beautiful, but you hand make earrings. But you handcraft and make these beautiful earrings that you sell. I know at some point you were selling it to go on a mission trip to Kenya, which is also maybe something you can tell us about. But just really to dive into your creative process and like who you are, what's the name of the business, and what are you doing now?
The name of my business, because it's not just purely earrings.
Yeah.
It's H&H Luxury Collection, right? That's the name of my business, and it's basically his and hers.
Yeah.
So his meaning our Father, the Lord, and hers, which is me. It's our luxury collection. Handcraft earring, beaded earrings, and inspiration. Honestly, it's just me playing around. I just look at different colors and I try to infuse them, and if the pattern is great, then amazing. So last year I went on a mission trip with our church because I was part of the church's ministry internship, and so I had to raise funds for the mission. And one of the ideas that I got from my colleague at the time was, why don't you just sell your earrings, because you make beautiful earrings. And I thought, okay, that could be a thing. But I've always been a person who's afraid to, put herself out there. But each and every earring that I, sold, people loved. And it feels really good, seeing a person wearing my earrings. It's like, oh my God, I did that. I did that. I created that. I think that's where I decided, maybe this is not such a bad idea. Maybe I could continue making these earrings.
So for me, it's like really amazing that you are very crafty with your hands, But I think like in creativity encompasses so many things. It can be like among so many industries, and it's not just this one box thing. Like I think, like I was saying earlier, why I didn't want this, because we were actually just having to introduce the conversation. I was like, I want to say this for the camera. I feel that, creativity wasn't recognized as an actual industry or even a lucrative industry like a few years back, first. And second, I think it can be understood within different industry realms. I think there can be a creative person in science. But for me, it's really just like opening up your mind to not boxing what creativity was, which was reserved for artists that can paint realistically. Really just kind of diving into what are your thoughts around that.
I love how you said that like you can be a scientist and a creative, because I remember a few months back I went on an interview, right? So I'm an administrator by profession, and so I went on this interview for this administrative post, and the lady was reading my CV. And she was like, "Oh, you look you say that you're creative, but you're also a person who is intricate and pays attention to detail and all of these things. How is that possible?" And I looked at her and I'm like confused. Can't I be a person who pays attention to detail, a person who is intricate in all of these things, and be creative at the same time? And in that moment, I felt like, maybe I'm, I don't know who I am. Maybe I'm not creative, and but I'm like, I am.
Yeah.
So it's funny for you to say that because
I think someone else that I was also having this conversation with was saying that you can, like creativity can exist within different types of personalities. So you can be OCD and creative.
Yeah.
Like you can be completely chaotic with no order in your life and be creative, and I think it's just breaking those stereotypes. And kind of like not counting yourself out. I think but my mom would always say like God gave creatives like an extra sparkle in creative people, She would always say something like, sure, I could never be creative like you, and like you're so creative. And while I appreciated her building up my confidence, in being creative ever, and her recognizing like what I'm naturally able to do, I thought my mom is a very self-sustaining kind of woman, and it takes creativity to be self-sustaining. So you've got to think of ideas that will be self-sustaining, that will help provide for you, like that's creative, right? And I actually just want to dive into like the meaning of the word creative. Are you creative to the wife? Yo! Are you creative? It's actually really want to research it.
No, I hear you. And even while you're speaking, I'm just reminded by God. You know how God created everything? He created the heavens and the earth. And if you look at the mountains, like the mountains are beautiful. You look at the forest, you look at flowers, and it takes creativity. But then also you realize that if we're just an inch closer to the sun, which takes a person who's intricate to know that the sun needs to be this far, the moon needs to be this far, and needs to rotate at this speed. You need to be an intricate thinker, an all sciencey, to do all of that. But also at the same time, he was creative. So our Father, we are made in His image. So you can be creative, and you can be a scientific person. You can be OCD and be creative, as our Father is. And so I love that.
So while you was researching the dictionary definition of creativity, I think there's something that I always said that if I wasn't a Christian, I think I would have gone the other direction, because I really love spirituality, and I really love just the deeper meaning of things, and how I love the idea that everything is connected. So I saw this one video online, and it was just like comparing the makeup of our human bodies to the earth, and actually comparing similarities. And that was a very interesting, provoking thought, because I was like, the earth is so big, and I'm this tiny person, like what are the similarities, right? So some of it is the fact that the earth is like 70% of water, and our bodies are 70% water. Like that's a crazy thought. Do you know what I mean? But you know what's something crazy? We can't live in water, even though we see our bodies as majority made up of water. And then also, what's crazy is when your body is cremated, it goes back to dust, which is in the earth. So it's like it's almost like we're earthly beings. Technically we are, but like not at the same time. We are, but not at the same time. I just thought it's so beautiful how we so like connected, like to the things around us. So I think for you to be an artist, you need imagination. For you to be in theater, you need imagination. For you to be a mathematician, you need imagination. For you to be a scientist, you need to be imaginative. Even to be a lawyer, to be like a baby.
Okay, so when I think of creativity, right, I think obviously paint. I think colors, bright, bold, abstract. I think just messy. But obviously we know that that's not the truth, How you can take all of that chaos and create something beautiful.
I think when the fact that the woman that was interviewing you for your job, the fact that she was even, shocked at the fact that you mentioned that you're creative, but you pay attention to detail, shows as a testament to the fact that stigma still is around,
100%.
And that it needs to be broken, because the reality is that we've evolved and we're still evolving, and I think we're going to evolve. Like we're evolving creatures, we're independent thinkers, as human beings. So we can't think of the same thing that existed 20 years to fit for 20 years later. You know, you got to adjust it. I think I want to go back to something you just mentioned that sparked this idea in my mind, and that is that creativity can also be personified. It can, I feel like there's a certain level of vulnerability that comes with creativity. Also, because no one really wants to claim the title like I'm creative. Yeah, okay, let's see what you can do. That's immediately like the standard response, you know. But I think the reason why I say I think it comes with a certain level of responsibility. Vulnerability rather, but because that you've got to open up your imagination, and then you've got to articulate your imagination into the different mediums that is available here on earth. So like whether it's film, whether it's painting, whether it's science, whether it's coming up with a new formula for maths, whether it's all these different mediums to articulate your imagination. Then you've got to give it to these people that is going to critique. They will either critique or love it. They will either extremely hate it or extremely love it. Like it's always one of the two, you know. And then on top of that, because I feel like the imaginative mind is so big and so like there's such a sense of like I picture an abyss when I think of the imagination, because there's no end to it. There's no like start and finish, you know. I think it leaves room for subjective interpretation. So you can view what this person is coming up with. You can view this new formula that the scientist just made. You can view this new artwork that this artist just painted, and for yourself extract your own meaning from it, which isn't right or wrong. There's like what was the intended image that was painted, and the initial understanding, and then there is room for this subjective interpretation, you know, that's left to the audience, which I think is so beautiful, because it starts to engage your work with your audience, you know. So that's why I say it's like creativity can be personified, because it's like this human aspect to it. Like you've got to really be vulnerable to share your imagination.
Have more room for people to express themselves in the creative space without this template overshadowing us. You know, you need to look like this, you need to dress like this. Oh no, you need to be dressed in beige, white, and black. Those are the colors that everyone.
Yeah. I hear you. But no offense taken. No offense. Listen, I'm not an influencer, so it doesn't affect me. I'm not trying to be one either.
The point is like, is this?
Yeah, I actually forgot I was reading this. It's gonna be so funny in the end.
But like, there's this thought or this template that people have created, and it's like, guys, can you just stop, you know? And then you find people just thriving to be like that person. It's like, but now you can't be creative. You're not really being a creative. And you're not just talking about being creative. Be creative. You know, do something crazy, something radical. Don't follow what they're telling you to do. That's also another thing that I think about.
I think it just comes back to like, it's still under the umbrella of the creative industry, you know, like, and it's so interlinked. Everything affects everything. Everything needs everything. Yeah. So thank you so much for having this conversation with me. Thank you. Hopefully it won't be the last.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it won't be the last.